So I'm Arinbjo, I'm from Askan, and we're looking at adversarial negotiation dynamics in language models. So we're looking at this legal scenario where you have a buyer and a seller, and they are trying to reach a contract on selling some goods. And we're looking at this specific scenario where both um, the buyer and the seller in this case use a language model to handle the entire negotiation setting. So we're looking at which models do they choose and how does that affect the outcome. So the setting we use is we pick 8 common open source models and do pairwise tests on all of them. And what we find is that some models really excel as either the seller or the buyer setting. This is usually the general model. So while the legal specific models tend to have a more general, more balanced outcome as either the seller or the buyer. But what's really interesting is that there's a non-transitive property, so that the Llama 3 model really excels as the buyer and wins in the majority of cases. So overall, that would be a very likely model to use. However, if you know what the model your seller, your adversary is using, and that happens to be the Sol 7b model, in that case, the Llama 3 is not great as a buyer. So what you would actually want to do in that case is to use the Gemma model. So this creates a game theory element where more knowledge about your adversary can give you an advantage, and shows that this is sort of a very complex scenario with game theory elements and can have big implications for practitioners who are using these models and what kind of safeguards and selections they use in the setup.